Hi students, previous classes discussed about the chapter 10 biomolecules, that is write a brief account on polysaccharides. Today onwards discuss about some important notes in biomolecules, that is first one here, some of the natural products and some of the synthetic chemical products. In those of penicillin, sulfonamide, vitamin C and growth hormone. So dear students, medicines are either man-made or obtained from in living organisms, including plants, animals, bacteria and fungi, that is named synthetic medicines or synthetic chemicals. Sometimes the natural products is also chemically altered by man to reduce toxicity and side effects. So especially penicillin, this is a powerful antibiotic. Once upon a time, this is a wonderful drug of medicine in all over the world. So in this penicillin is obtained from one fungal member, that is named Penicillium notatum. So this Penicillium notatum of penicillin is first observed by Alexander Fleming. So dear students, penicillin is obtained from Penicillium notatum. This is one fungal member. This penicillin first observed by Alexander Fleming. So this penicillin is a natural product. Next, coming to sulfonamide, is a synthetic chemical. Medicines are either man-made, that is synthetic, or obtained from living organisms such as plants, animals, fungi and bacteria. And vitamin C. Vitamin C is also obtained from especially citric fruits such as lemon fruit, orange fruit, tartaric fruits. So those fruits can have vitamin C. This is a water soluble vitamin. Vitamins are mainly two kinds. One is water soluble vitamins, second one is fat soluble vitamins. Water soluble vitamins are here BC, vitamin B, vitamin C. Fat soluble vitamins are here vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K. But here water soluble vitamin, that is vitamin C, is also available rich content of citrus fruits, especially lemon fruits, orange fruits and also mainly amla fruit. So vitamin C is a natural product. And next, coming to growth hormones. So growth hormones, so these are also one chemical substances, is also consisting of the internal body of the plant organisms. By means internally the plant will be containing some of the growth regulators or growth hormones such as auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, abscisic acids and ethylene. So these growth hormones are mainly involved promoting of the plant growth and inhibit of the plant growth. So these growth hormones to be produced naturally in the plant body. So that is a growth hormone. So growth hormone, natural products. Growth hormone is natural product. Okay now. Next, coming to polysaccharide. Polysaccharide, they are long chains of sugars or more than two sugars such as carbohydrates, starch, cellulose, glycogen, insulin, glucose, fructose. These are polysaccharides. So these polysaccharides are having to glycosidic bond. Glycosidic bond. How to be form of glycosidic bond? So the nitrogen base and pentose sugar is linked by glycosidic bond. In generally, the nucleic acid of DNA and RNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid and ribonucleic acid, would be containing three components such as nitrogen bases, that is furans and pyrimidines, including adenine, guanine, thymine and cytosine, and pentose sugars in DNA, that is deoxyribose sugar, in RNA, that is ribose sugar, and another one here, another component are here phosphate group or phosphoric acid. These three components are involved in DNA and RNA, that is nitrogen bases, pentose sugar and phosphate group or phosphoric acid. But here especially nitrogen bases and pentose sugar, that is deoxyribose sugar, is linked by the glycosidic bond. Is linked by glycosidic bond. By means glycosidic bond between of the nitrogen base and deoxyribose sugar, that is pentose sugar. So that is a glycosidic bond. Anyhow, polysaccharides all are would be containing a glycosidic bond. How to be form of glycosidic bond? By means glycosidic bond between of nitrogen bases and pentose sugars. So in this time to be eliminated by one water molecule to one water molecule, that is dehydration. That is dehydration. So in this glycosidic bond to be resulted dehydration by means to be removal of one water molecule. To be removal of one water molecule. Next coming to protein. So all proteins will be containing peptide bond. How to form peptide bonds? Generally 20 amino acids are involved in protein synthesis, or several polypeptide bonds are to be make a proteins. In generally a single amino acid containing carbon, hydrogen, amino group and carboxyl group. So dear students, this is a one amino acid structure and this is another amino acid structure. So first of all to be how to form a peptide bond. In generally one amino acid will be containing center and middle of the carbon, that is C, and right is surrounded by amino group NH2 and left is surrounded by carboxyl group, that is COOH, and also hydrogen group and also any alkali group, that is R1, any alkali group, that is R1. And second amino acid are here carbon and also amino group and also COOH carboxyl group and hydrogen and any alkali group, that is R2. So how to form a peptide bond? That means one amino acid of amino group between of the another amino acid of carboxyl group. So to be make a one peptide bond, at the same time to be removal of one water molecule, Okay, now that means so this is a one amino acid, carbon, hydrogen and NH2 and also COOH, and other amino acid are here HNH and carbon and hydrogen and carboxyl group and R2. So this is a one amino acid, this is a other amino acid. One amino acid of carboxyl group, another amino acid of hydrogen group, that is COOH and NH2, that is OH and H, to be make a one water molecule, that is peptide bond, that is CONH. So this is a peptide bond. One amino acid of carboxyl group another amino acid of amino group to be form a one peptide bond, that is CONH. At the same time to be removal of one water molecule, that is hydrogen and hydrogen, that is hydrogen 1 and hydrogen 2, that is H2, and also O. So to be removal of one water molecule and to be make a one peptide bond, that is CONH, that is CONH. Peptide bond is always to be formed one amino acid of carboxyl group, that is COOH, and another amino acid of amino group, that is NH2, to be write HNH. So in this time, so one carboxyl group, that is COOH, and amino group HNH. So H and HO to be form one water molecule and to make a one peptide bond, that is CONH, that is CONH, that is CONH. This is a peptide bond. And fats is also containing ester bonds. How to form a ester bond? Already the DNA would be containing three components. One is nitrogen base, second one is pentose sugar, third one is phosphate group. So dear students, the ester bond to be making a one phosphate group and the hydroxyl group of sugars. Hydroxyl group of sugars, that is make a ester bond. But here glycosidic bond between of the nitrogen base and pentose sugar. Don't confuse are here. But ester bond between of the phosphate and hydroxyl group of sugar, and hydroxyl group of sugar to be make a ester bond, that is fat. And water is also to be make a hydrogen bond. Water is also to be make a hydrogen bond. Hydrogen bond. H2, that is hydrogen bond. So these are the bonds are here. Polysaccharides would be containing glycosidic bond, protein would be containing peptide bond, fat would be containing ester bond, water would be containing hydrogen bonds. Hydrogen bonds. Okay now. Next coming to amino acids. So 20 amino acids are involved in their protein synthesis. The amino acids, the best example, the first amino acid, that is here glycine. One amino acid, write to one amino acid, that is glycine. Several amino acids are here. Especially 20 amino acids are involved in their protein synthesis. The first involved amino acid, that is glycine. So amino acids, the best example are here glycine, and sugars, the best example are here glucose C6H12O6. Nucleotides, the best example are here adenolic acid. Nucleotides, the DNA and RNA would be containing three components, that is nitrogen base, pentose sugar, and phosphate group, that is known as nucleotides. The first nucleotide are here adenolic acid. Next one here guanilic acid, citrullic acid, thiamidilic acid, uridylic acid. But here the best example are here nucleotides, adenolic acid. And fatty acids are here. The best example here palmitic acid. So this palmitic acid would be containing cysteine carbon compounds. So these are the examples for amino acids, sugars, nucleotides, and fatty acids. And next coming to how to make a deuterionic form. So dear students, deuterionic form of an amino acid. Generally this is a one amino acid structure. So any amino acid would be containing carbon, hydrogen, amino group, carboxyl group, or any alkali group. But here, so in this one are here to be observed. So carboxyl group COOH, but here only COO, and amino group, that is NH2, but here to be having NH3 plus ammonia. So this is a one neutral form. A neutral form due to equal positive and negative charges. Generally, any amino acid would be containing amino group and carboxyl group. Sometimes amino group are having two positive charge and sometimes carboxyl group are having two negative charge. Only one type of amino acid in carboxyl group, either amino group would be containing one charge, positive charge and negative charge. But any amino acid is at the same time not be containing both positive and negative charges. This is very important here. In generally, any amino acid at the same time not be containing both positive and negative charges. But sometimes a Jupiter ionic form of an amino acid containing at the same time would be containing both positive and negative charges. Both positive and negative charges. That is Jupiter ionic form. So this is one amino acid would be containing deuterionic form. Why? Because a neutral form due to equal positive and negative charges. In generally, amino acids containing both acidic and basic centers. Acidic and basic centers. Carboxyl group and amino group, and hence shows both positive and negative charges. Both positive and negative charges. In generally, a normal amino acid at the same time not would be containing both positive and negative charge. Only one containing positive charge and negative charge. But sometimes an amino acid would be containing at the same time both positive and negative charges. This type of amino acids are named as deuterionic form. Deuterionic form. Okay now. So next coming to some amino acids are here, such as glycine, alanine, serine. But here to be change of the any alkali group. So in generally this is one amino acid structure and this is another amino acid structure. So to be draw of glycine and to be draw of alanine. So generally any amino acid would be containing carbon, hydrogen, amino group and carboxyl group and any alkali group. So in this any alkali group, that is carbon, is always substitute hydrogen, is always substitute respectively with hydrogen, that is named glycine. And R2 or any alkali group is always substitute within the methyl group, CH3 methyl group. So is respectively to alanine, is respectively to be alanine. By means H hydrogen and CH3, that is methane, is always substitute to be respectively with glycine and alanine. Glycine and alanine. In generally, both amino acids containing carbon, hydrogen, amino and carboxyl group, and added one hydrogen and one methane. So hydrogen added, that is glycine amino acid. Methane CH3 is added, that is alanine amino acid. And next coming to cotton fiber. So these are the one type of polysaccharide. Cotton fiber, that is a polysaccharide. This polysaccharide containing cellulose. By means cotton fibers. Cotton fibers is also containing cellulose. And exoskeleton of arthropods containing chitin. This is also polysaccharide. And liver, animal livers is also containing glycogen. So all animal organisms is always stored food material in glycogen. So hence liver is also containing glycogen. And peeled potatoes is always stored one type of starch. These are the polysaccharides. So different polysaccharides are containing in different plant organisms and animal organisms. Especially cotton fiber containing cellulose, exoskeleton of arthropods, example cockroach containing chitin, liver is also containing glycogen, and peeled potato containing starch. These are the some important notes on biomolecules. And other importance are here. What are the differences between primary metabolites and secondary metabolites, and also given the examples are here. Primary metabolites are here. some of the organic compounds such as amino acids and sugars. So both are present in all living organisms of the cells and is always carried out some functions in their cells, that is primary metabolites. And secondary metabolites are here. Some of the alkaloids, flavonoids and also rubbers, essential oils and antibiotics. So these are the secondary metabolites. So these do not involve in their specific functions. So specific identifiable functions in the host organisms of the cells, that is named secondary metabolites. Okay, now anyhow, primary metabolites are here, amino acids and sugars. So both are present in all living organisms of the cells and are involved in their specific functions in all cells. Secondary metabolites are here, alkaloids, flavonoids, rubbers, essential oils and antibiotics, that is some amount of the medicines. So these secondary metabolites does not identifiable in functions in the host organisms of the cells. So these are the differences between primary metabolites and secondary metabolites. So dear students, this is about the some important notes on biomolecules. Okay, now thank you.